This time in the Prop Master, well, we've just got a short little video where I'm going to talk about what you can do if you, or I should say when you inevitably snap off one of these two little pieces that stick out very flimsily. In fact, I can't imagine wearing this costume and not eventually snagging a hose on something and these things just popping right off. If that happens to you, hopefully this will show you what you can do to fix the problem. So it's fairly warm outside today, and so I left this out hanging in the sun so that these hoses would straighten out a little bit, and the glue joint on this piece broke and the hose fell off, and when I was using an air compressor to get the piece out of the hose, it went flying somewhere, so I can't even glue it back on here if I wanted to. So basically, if something like this happens to you and you can't use this piece, let's go about seeing if we can't repair it. I mean, obviously I could go find these basic pieces at any place that sells pneumatic tools, probably, but you know, probably the Home Depot or something like that would probably have them. Definitely a good hardware store would have these pieces and you could make it yourself, but they'd be, you know, these things don't weigh an ounce hardly, made out of plastic, and if you make them out of metal, they're going to be much heavier. So I'm going to see if I can't just repair this. So basically, if you have this problem, this is how to fix it. First, let's see if we can remove this. Probably not. It's probably going to be, okay, that was pretty easy actually. So this is where I glued it on originally, but we also know from when it snapped off earlier that it will break off pretty easily. So I'm going to go ahead and take a 1/4 inch drill bit, put this in a vise, and see if we can't drill this out. Okay, so I've just got my piece in a vise. I've got like 3 pieces of paper between this and the vise, so it doesn't tear it up too badly. But it's not super tight, but it's tight enough that it's not going anywhere. I've got a 1/4 inch drill bit, but I'm going to go with this much smaller drill bit first. See if we can't get a bit of a pilot hole going. It's going to be tough because of the way this is made. It's got a cross support right in the middle, so it's going to do everything except want to drill down the middle of this. So you know what? Maybe I'm not going to do that. I think I will just go with the 1/4 inch and see if I can do that. If I go with this smaller one, it's just going to run down anywhere except for the middle, because I've got, you know, a gap all the way around here except for a crosshairs in the middle, and the middle is where I want to be. So let's see if this works. I could do this in the drill press, would probably be the smarter thing to do, but I know that a lot of people don't have drill presses, so let's see what happens. Okay, that was surprisingly easy. I think there must be basically a 1/4 inch hole in here with the little supports in the middle. Okay, now this is going to be the harder part. I'm going to try to drill through this little piece here. I'm doing it this way so that I can kind of try and meet in the middle somewhere. Probably smarter if I can grab this from the top part. This plastic has proven to be so brittle that I'm afraid that if I grab it at the bottom, it's just going to snap in the middle. This is going to be much trickier. In fact, what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this little nub off. As you can tell, I haven't really thought this through a whole lot, so. Okay, now let's see if this will go in here. Okay, and by doing it this way and meeting in the middle, I know that, you know, the ends are roughly in the positions that I want them to be. This has got me a little bit freaked out because this is going way easier than I'd expected. Now I'm going to take an aluminum rod. Okay, this is just a 1/4 inch aluminum rod. Like I said, you'll use whatever size is, you know, replacing the one that's in here. This was actually slightly, I think this was like 3/16. The little things that were sticking out, but you're never going to find that size in a, you know, something at the hardware store. So it's almost the same size. In fact, this is a better size for the hose that I've got. The inside of this is clearly very crumbly. Needs a little help. There we go. So now that I know that that will fit in there, and it's quite, you know, it's pretty tight. Let's go ahead and sand this and make it a little bit smoother. I've just got a piece of 220 grit sandpaper here. Take my piece, and I'm just wanting to, this is, you know, kind of jagged looking. And I just want to kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this end here. You know, this seems to sand much easier than the other piece, so I think this is a softer resin than the rest of it was made out of. And let's see, this whole thing is about 2 1/4 inches. And if I want my ends to be about, you know, an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch longer, which is, you know, 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters in length, somewhere in that area. So we're going to want a, let's just say a 4-inch long piece. Yours may vary. You just want, you know, some of the rod to stick out of the front and some to stick out of the back. So I'm going to cut a 4-inch piece of my aluminum rod, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my 4-inch piece. I'm going to cut this off, and I just took some sandpaper and rounded off the sharp edges so that it's not sharp. Also, that'll probably help it with the slightly rounded edges. It'll help it, feed through here. And I haven't decided whether or not I should glue this or not. That's my fear right there, is it'll get stuck like this, and then I'll end up with it glued in place. Okay. Here's what I might do. I might put a little bit of glue on the shaft itself and then slide it down, and then put some glue at the top and slide it this way, and then at least it'll have some glue to hold it in place. To be honest, this end here will be what holds it. Let's try that again in English. This part here is what will be holding the hose in place, and this part down here is what's attached to the Vambrace itself. So this really doesn't have any structural part to it. So it could just be free floating, to be honest. Put a little glue there. Slide it down. Let's go a little further. Put a little glue here. Slide it that way. In the end, I want there to be a little bit more on this pointy end, because that's where the hose attaches. I think there's probably not a lot of, I think the actual Vambrace can be mostly hollow, so unless I fill it with hot glue like I did some of the other parts, how long this is isn't particularly important. But we won't know for sure until we drill into the Vambrace. Clean the excess glue off. Okay. Now we have a repaired little piece here that's going to be much stronger than the original, and we can go from there. If you liked this video or found it helpful, why not give it a thumbs up? And of course, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos. You can also click that little bell so you'll be instantly notified when new videos come out. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'll do my best to answer them. It's really your likes, comments, and subscriptions that motivate me to keep this channel going. So, until next time, thanks.